Let's talk about how minor chords fit into the CAGED system for guitar. To demonstrate each minor chord in the CAGED system for guitar, we will look at the 5 positions of major chords learnt in the previous lesson and make a small adjustment to each shape. This method makes learning 5 new shapes easy to digest. A quick reminder here that although the CAGED system is built from the open chords C, A, G, E and D, and each one of these suggests a different position on the fretboard, I prefer to think of the E chord as our starting position, as this will help tie in with how scales fit within each position at a later stage, so we need to do some rearranging. CAGED is a more accurate representation of the CAGED system, as now the chord shapes are ordered correctly. It just doesn't quite roll off the tongue the same as CAGED does. Let's begin by learning how to play a G minor chord in 5 positions, starting with the E shape. To form a G minor chord using an E shape, we simply need to refer to our first major shape learnt in the previous CAGED lesson, which looked like this. We now need to lower one note, in this case the B note on the 4th fret of the G string. We would call this note the major third. Let's lower this note by 1 fret, revealing the minor third, which is now played by the bar on the 3rd fret. This should be a very familiar shape to most of you. This is also the same as if you were to change from an open E chord to an E minor by removing your 2nd finger. Next, we're using our D shape, learnt in the previous CAGED lesson, to form a G minor chord. To do this, lower the major third, in this case the B note located on the 7th fret of the high E string, by 1 fret. You will need to rearrange your fingers to accommodate this new shape. This once again is the same as if you were to change from an open D chord to a D minor chord. Now we're using our C CAGED shape, learnt from the previous lesson, to form a G minor chord. To do this, we need to lower the major third, in this case the B note located on the 9th fret of the D string, by 1 fret, and remove our bar. Once again, it's necessary to rearrange your fingers to accommodate this shape. Now this shape isn't much fun to play and can be difficult for a lot of guitarists, so a common thing to do is move our 4th finger to the high E string for a nicer sounding and easier to play voicing. Alternatively, just remove this note altogether for an easy to play shape that works especially well in a band scenario. Next, we're going to be making a G minor chord using our A CAGED shape. To make this major shape minor, we simply need to lower the major third, in this case the B note located on the 12th fret of the B string, to the minor third 1 fret lower. This is the same as if you were to change from an open A chord to an A minor chord. And to form a G minor chord using our G CAGED shape, let's take a closer look at the previously learnt major CAGED shape. Lowering the major third in this chord isn't an option, as it wouldn't make for a very practical chord to play, but we can find the minor third note in a different location. In this case, the 15th fret of the G string, but this leaves us with both a major third and a minor third in the same chord. The answer to this problem is to replace the major third of this chord with the D note on the 15th fret of the B string. You can play this with just 2 fingers, as we can now bar all 3 notes on the 15th fret. And remember, to quickly reference this chord, you simply need to find the root note, or G, which would be on the high E string, and apply the minor CAGED shape. You should practice all 5 chords in sequence to begin with to become fully acquainted with each position. You could also play both the major and minor version of each chord in sequence to help visualize the relationship between each shape. And of course, when you can do this, start the whole sequence from a different starting note, like A for instance, to really establish this into your playing. If you enjoyed this lesson and would like to see more like this, then feel free to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. See you in the next one.